Hey, friends. All right, y'all. So, y'all know life be lifing. So, welcome back to another episode of Doing Life with Dasia. Let's talk a little bit about some things that I've personally been struggling with. Um, Maybe you can relate. And then also, I want to kind of tell you what's been helping me get through these struggles. All right. So, first and foremost, right now, um, at my church and in one of my prayer study groups, we've been really focusing on the fruits of the Spirit. And so, if you know me, I'm someone who, this is just in every area of my life. Like, whatever I feel like is the hardest thing, I try to tackle it first. Like, I'll give y'all an example. So, some of my other videos, I've told you guys, I used to be very, very shy. But like I really, really admire people that pour into people who are tell stories. People, I've always admired like people who take the initiative to help other people through their own testimony. Is basically what I'm trying to say. So, even as a little girl, like I was like, okay, when I look at these people that are influential or that are helpful, what is the only disconnect I see? Because, I have a testimony. I have a lot that I've been through. There's a lot of different things that I know I can relate to. But my biggest downfall or disconnect was the fact that I was so shy. So I said, okay, and this is before I started business, mentoring, all of that kind of stuff. I was like, I have to tackle this shyness. I have to put myself out there more. I got to start speaking. I got to start doing, more presentations, whatever it takes for me to break this barrier of shyness. I got to do. So now back to like what I'm talking about. So that's how I feel about if I had one fruit of the Spirit that I feel like needs the most work, because I need work in all areas, right? But it's patience, right? And like people make jokes all the time. They're like, "Ooh, if you pray for patience, you better be ready to get tested." And that's absolutely true. I'll say that. But I didn't want to back down from that, right? Like the woman that I want to become requires a different level of patience. The work that I want to do requires patience. And that doesn't mean I'm an impatient person now, but there are levels to it. And I just feel like that's something I really, truly want to work through. But with that being said, it has not been easy. Just like people say, like when you pray that prayer of patience, tests come, trials come. You start seeing how you have to truly exercise this patience. And to be honest, like where I feel like I struggle with patience the most is because I'm so ambitious as a person. I see something, I have big vision, and I want to go for it. And it's not always the season for that, right? Like the Lord works in seasons. Our life is, in different seasons. And so that's why I feel like patience is something I have to work through. I have to be able to be content in whatever season I'm in to allow him to do what needs to be done to prepare me for the next season. And like all these things are easier said than done, right? Like I know this, I can say this, but there are situations that'll pop up where I see myself getting impatient or I see myself wanting to jump the gun or step forward when I know I need to just be still. And so, what I will say is there is a verse or a few verses that have truly been an anchor for me to be able to help me navigate this patience. So I'm going to read it to you and then I'm going to talk a little bit more. So it's Ecclesiastes 3, and I'm going to start at verse 1 and I'm going to go through verse 8. And it says, a time for everything. There's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born, a time to die. A time to plant, a time to uproot. A time to kill, a time to heal. A time to tear down, a time to build. A time to weep, a time to laugh. A time to mourn, a time to dance. A time to scatter stones, a time to gather them. A time to embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search, a time to give up. A time to keep, and a time to throw away. A time to tear, and a time to mend. A time to be silent, and a time to speak. A time to love, a time to hate. A time for war, and a time for peace. And so that in itself is powerful. So before I even finish, I want to ask you, what time are you in right now? Do you know what time you're in right now? And if you do know what time you're in, have you asked the Lord to help you be able to steward this time effectively? And so let's just kind of go back to, I'm going to stop at verse 4, right? And that was the one that said, there's a time to weep and a time to laugh. And why I feel like that stood out to me is because the day that I was reading this specifically, I literally had a breakdown. I was crying. I just felt overwhelmed. I felt like there was just a lot of things going on, from work, from my family, from my own emotional things, just friendships, just everything that could have been happening under the sun, I feel like was happening. And I'm talking in like future, but this was like literally a week ago. So I'm saying that to say, this verse brought me comfort because he's saying there is a time to weep and there's a time to laugh. And I don't think it's ironic either that he put those two things in a line. And why I'm saying that is because, everything that I was going through last week and the emotions and all those different things, what I didn't realize was also preparing me for that time to laugh. By the latter of that week, I saw why certain things had to happen the way they had to. God was opening my eyes to certain things. He needed me to discern certain things. There was a different perspective shift I needed because, like I've talked about before, sometimes God has to save us from ourselves. And he had to reveal certain things to me so that I didn't make a decision that I would later regret. And so, with that being said, going on to that part where it says there's a time to laugh. So many unexpected things happened in a positive way, right? And I'll kind of just give you guys a little bit of insight. So, I got to spend a lot of time with my family, my sister's birthday. So, me, my sister, my dad, a lot of my family that we don't typically, get to spend time and do a lot of things together all the time. We were able to do that. And so I'm saying that to say that in that same week, I had emotional things going on, overwhelmed, and the Lord is still kind enough to restore me and to allow me to laugh in the same week that I was crying. But deeper than that, right? Because it doesn't always happen instantaneously like that. I want us to start to pay attention to what season we're in. And like I said a few minutes ago, asking God to grace me for that season. Because all of these things, I think this is another thing that guarantees us that we're going to experience all of this, right? There's a time to be born. There's a time to die. There's a time to plant. There's a time to uproot. It even says there's a time to mourn. There's a time to dance. And so if we can get more, what's the word I'm looking for? If we could just become a little bit more like okay with the season of our lives, I think that we would be able to navigate them better. I think that we'd be able to have a different level of hope, a different level of expectancy, knowing that, and we've heard this before, that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning, right? God gives us promises over and over and over to show us how to navigate these different seasons as they come. And I think this was just so good to me because not only did it slow me down, but it also gave me peace to know that God knows what he's doing. He knows why I'm in this season. He knows exactly what I need to learn in this season. And it's for me to decide, am I going to truly partner with you? And guys, I want to be honest, that doesn't mean every day is going to be good, right? But like it does mean that we can find hope in the fact that every day has a purpose. One of my Bible study calls, my good friend, she's a pastor and now author, she said something that really, really stuck out to me. And she was talking about, the Lord's Prayer when we say, give us this day our daily bread. And she really broke down what our daily bread means. And so that was so on time as well, because this is the same week I'm going through all of this that she spoke this. But to summarize what she said, she was saying that when we ask the Lord to give us our daily bread, that means that he knows exactly what we need on that day. Sometimes we worry too much about tomorrow, where the Bible tells us don't do that too. He says, do not worry about tomorrow. But to know and to trust and be able to understand that if I ask the Lord for my daily bread, that he's going to give me exactly what I need today. And you can take that to go with these seasons as well. You can trust and believe that in this season of, let's just say your season right now is uprooting. In this season of uprooting, the Lord is going to continue to give me exactly what I need to be able to uproot. If this is your season of dancing, the Lord is going to give me exactly what I need to dance. Or if this is my season to build, he's going to provide everything I need to build. And so I just want to encourage you guys to have peace in knowing that his provision is unwavering, that his provision is there. We have to do the work to accept it, and we have to be okay with knowing that there are seasons in life. But more importantly, we have to truly want to navigate the seasons according to his will, because no matter what it is that we go through, he has a plan. His love never fails, and he is the one who continues to take us from season to season to season. And so I hope that helped you guys. If anybody else is impatient like me, take this and really study it. Like I said, it's Ecclesiastes 3:1-8. Take some time. Ask the Lord, ask the Holy Spirit, what season am I currently in? And how can I be a better steward of this season? And how can you give me tools to navigate it? All right, I'll see you guys next time.